and we need to go back to a real economy. So unfortunately, the solution to this problem is a massive recession with this big decline in our standard of living, where Americans lose their jobs in the service sector and find new jobs producing things and making stuff. But that transition is going to...
I agree with you. I want to go to the medical analogy, the health and illness analogy, Peter. It's been long known that a fever is actually the body's attempt to heal itself. When the body gets hot and runs a fever, it's actually trying to kill off the invading organisms that are infecting the body. And when you suppress that fever through aspirin or some other antipyretic, by reducing the fever, you're not letting the fever burn out the toxins or the microorganism, rather, that's in your body. I believe this country needs to go through an almost deathly fever to survive. Isn't that what you're saying?
I mean, basically, I've always used the analogy of a heroin addict. I mean, basically, you're addicted to heroin, and in order to get healthy and get the heroin out of your system, you go through withdrawal. You stop taking it, and the withdrawal is a very painful, unpleasant process, but it's the only path to health. And we've been addicted to credit and borrowing and spending, and we need to go cold turkey. And unfortunately, when you do that, there's some pain, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. What the government...
Yeah, well, look, I remember the Republicans used to say, "Oh, those Democrats, all they know how to do is tax and spend, tax and spend." Then we woke up and there was Bush borrowing and spending, building a bigger government every day. How in the world was Bush allowed to get away with this? Where was the Republican Congress on this, Peter?
Under Obama, it's going to turn into print and spend because nobody's going to lend us any more money. It's just going to be print it and spend it, and it's going to be massive inflation. But like I said, we need to allow the market to function. As bad as this medicine is going to taste, we have to swallow it. Otherwise...
What about gold and oil? Why has oil come down in a time like this? Is it as simple as supply and demand? People are using less construction, less building, less driving, less demand for energy? Is that what's going on?
Not really. I think this is a short-term phenomenon associated with massive deleveraging, margin calls, speculators being forced out of the market. It's created a situation where prices are very low, and they're not going to stay low. Oil prices, other commodity prices, I believe once this selling pressure is off, prices are going to return to much, much higher levels. That's not going to be the case for, U.S. stocks or real estate, but commodity prices are going much, much, much higher, and especially over, as the years go by, and we really get the impact of the inflation that is being created and will be created.
Right. So, in other words, what's real is going to be even more real, and what's false is going to be even more false.
Sure. Yep.
That's pretty amazing. Peter Schiff, author of Crash Proof. Are there any last words you'd like to leave my audience on the Savage Nation?
Well, as I said, I wrote this book they can look at, Crash Proof, How to Profit from the Coming Economic Collapse, a couple of years ago. They can read that. I got a new book out called The Little Book of Bull Moves and Bear Markets. If you want to see, there's a YouTube video of me that's gone around last week. Almost 500,000 people have watched it in the past week. Peter Schiff was right. You can Google it and check out the video. But there's 16 or 1,700 video clips of me on Google going back to 2004 when CNBC first started calling me Dr. Doom. I mean, you can read, you can see all this stuff.
You're my kind of guy because you were right. They were wrong. The con men were wrong. But why are they bringing back Robert Rubin, who is fundamentally in charge at Citibank, who created all of these risk measures, and now he's going to run the economy for Obama? What sense does that make?
They drive the company into the ground, and then they go to Washington. And, in fact, look what's going on with this bailout of Citi. You've got Paulson bailing out all his buddies on Wall Street. And with taxpayer money, and actually it's not even taxpayer money, they're just printing it up, which is going to just, this is ridiculous. These companies should fail. Look at the salaries that Citibank lavishes on everybody. These guys.
Well, wait a minute, but you're raising a big issue here, Peter. If these companies are getting bailouts, why are they not required to put up collateral in the form of personal ownership? Meaning you're bailing out Citibank? Well, good. The cretins who did this to Citibank, shouldn't they be forced to put up their apartments, their houses, their planes as collateral?
be doing it. But yeah, I mean, but why are they allowed to take the bailout money and give themselves huge bonuses? They shouldn't be. They're saying, okay, we're paying ourselves bonuses that are 50% below last year's level. Well, last year was a record high. Their bonus should be zero. Their bonus.
Well, why is the government being allowed to get away with this? Surely there are voices in Congress who agree with you and I.
But no, they're getting bonuses. They're getting huge bonuses. This is absurd. And, of course, now we're going to have to bail out Detroit and GM because we're doing it for Wall Street. We shouldn't be bailing out anybody. And, of course, as I said, the U.S. government...
Oh, God, it's terrible that we have no government of the people, by the people, and for the people, Peter. Who in the heck do we turn to when all of them are involved in the bailout because they're bailing each other?